Hi, I have a little secret to share with you. I've owned a doTERRA business now for going on 7 years, and I've pretty much seen it all. I've been through many stages of growth myself. Let's go through them quickly. In the beginning, that startup phase, which some of you might be in, you say yes to every opportunity. You try many different things. You try on many different hats. You make a lot of mistakes. You've got to persevere because stage 2 is coming, which is your ramp up phase. If you stick it out through stage 1, you come into big growth, sometimes fast growth. You, again, make a ton of mistakes. You learn a lot about yourself through this phase. And then you come into the steady Eddie phase, where you are looking at optimizing your way of doing things. You're optimizing systems, your approaches, because your key word here is sustainability. Can what I'm doing through this phase be something I can continue to do for years and years and years and not burn out? From that phase, you come into the innovative phase. I would say that is the phase that I'm in now in my business. I have a large business with doTERRA. I have other things I do within my brand that all come under this umbrella that I have to choose what I'm going to show up in and breathe life in and flow in throughout the year. And in this phase, creativity is king. You've got your systems locked and loaded. You've been through all of the stages of growth and now you're at this point where it's about taking everything next level. And so that innovation is looking at, what's working, what's not working, what is working that I want to pour life into and take it to that next level. But there's one consistent essential through each stage of business, and it is trust. It's trusting in yourself. It's trusting in your vision, super important. It's trusting in your ideas. It's knowing when to walk away from an idea and when to put the pedal down. Owning a doTERRA business means you are in the driver's seat. And maybe you don't own a doTERRA business. Maybe you own a different business, but you've put yourself in this driver's seat so that you can be driving more of your life by design. That's the goal. And with that comes the need to have the courage to walk that out, the courage to not only live by design, but to truly honor that when other people might suggest that the way you're doing things is not the right way. There's a phase that I didn't mention as I was just going through those phases. And it's what I would refer to as the apathy phase. It's that phase that comes right before quitting. And here's what's going to lead to that phase. And maybe you're finding yourself in a bit of this phase. I find in business, it hits sometime after that 2-year mark when that romance fades away a little bit and you're required to go deeper within yourself to go to that next level. Here's what leads to the apathy phase, which is that phase before you will inevitably quit. It's caring about what everyone else is doing to grow their business. It's comparing yourself instead of really checking in and getting to know yourself in this phase, in this time that feels like you're being stretched and things that you used to do maybe aren't working anymore. It's worrying about what others think of you. I would take that one step further. If you have a team, it's worrying about what others think of you more than your commitment to lead and to lead from your authentic place, from your gifts. It's forgetting why you started. That will always lead you into apathy and eventually quitting. And mostly it's burning out, trying to please everybody. I have been there. I've been an entrepreneur for over 10 years, and I have gone through every one of these phases and stages. And what I want to share with you as my best secret is learning to trust yourself and your vision for your business, because that is the North Star. That is the fuel. That is the backbone of everything beautiful you can imagine for your life. And so if you want my best tip, it's really simply, and as soon as possible, beginning the work of understanding what makes you uniquely you. Because guess what? There has never been another you doing the work that you're doing. Never, ever, ever in all of time has there been somebody who brings the experiences, the lessons, the gifts, the strengths, the weaknesses even, everything that makes you you. There's never been somebody doing this work the way you're here to do it. And so what I feel is the simplest way to do this and to really get to know yourself and what makes you uniquely you is to understand that you have strengths and you have weaknesses, and they all come together to create this beautiful mess at times, but this beautiful business, this beautiful sustainable business, something that's going to allow you to truly create the life that you want to live. So one of my favorite tools to do this is the Strengths Finder assessment, because through that you can learn what your top strengths are, what your weaknesses, or what I would even prefer to call opportunities, but we all have them. And so when you get to know what your top 5 are, you also want to know what your bottom 5 are, because you have this secret sauce way of doing this business. And I believe that your strengths hold the keys to avoiding burnout and to staying in that apathy phase for too long. When you come back to understanding what makes you you, you can remind yourself, what if I did this a different way? What if I approached this thing that's feeling heavy in my business through what is actually my top 5 strengths? It's that Goldilocks principle. You want to find that tempo that's just right, because it's not about doing the things all the time, right? It's about how you do the things. It's doing them through your unique lens. And so I like to think of your top 5. Once you do your own assessment, you think of your top 5 as your strengths, and you think of those as your magnets in your business, and then you think of your bottom 5 as your kryptonite, right? These are the things, if you stay here for too long, you're gonna burn out, because the business that you're in, you got into for a reason. And if it's doTERRA, for example, you got into it because you know you're going to be able to create something that is just perfecto for you. But if you get stuck doing it through your bottom 5, you're gonna burn out. It won't be the business that burns you out. It's not the business's fault. It's because of the way that you're doing it. So I have one more quickie secret I want to share that goes with this. And that is, this whole thing is up to you. The whole thing. It's up to you. It's up to you what you want to make of it, right? And your goal here is to be unlike anybody else, to be as great as possible at being who you really are. And so I encourage you, no matter what stage you find yourself in your business right now, as soon as possible, get to know who you really are and what you really bring to this opportunity in front of you, and what you bring to us, bring to the world, because like that is what we want. That is amazing. When you see somebody who are just, they're doing it in their way, they're not looking around, they put the blinders on, and they really show up and serve people and bring their gifts to the world. And they don't spend time stewing, and in those bottom 5, but they keep in the top and they pivot when they need to. That is what brings that sense of entrepreneurial spirit to our world. That's where innovation takes place. That's where growth takes place. And that's where you ultimately build the life that you can imagine right now in your heart. If you want to dive a little deeper on this topic, I'm all about it. And I've recorded a session that I actually shared last year at doTERRA's leadership conference. And I've uploaded it for you at wholefit.com/leadership if you want to go a little deeper with me.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lori Hayes. I'm a Presidential Diamond, and I was super excited when Jennifer asked me to share some of my top secrets for building a doTERRA business. And so I have more than one, but there's just a few. So I'm going to share those with you guys. I would say if I had to label my top secret, it would be to be consistent, you guys. If you talk to anybody on my team, that's the number one thing that they would say about me. I believe it's the number one reason why people don't succeed in this business is because of lack of consistency. And here's the thing. I have never been a top enroller. I've never been a top anything really. However, I promoted to Presidential Diamond in an above average time period. And it really came down to the fact that I am super consistent and I always have been. So my energy is pretty much the same throughout my business. And, we have those moments in time, right, where we hit it hard. But really, for the most part, my energy is the same throughout my entire business. And I think that's really an important thing to know and to understand. Consistent energy trumps working super hard for a short time period and then like succumbing to exhaustion and going non-existent for a month. And y'all, that happens a lot. I see people who come and go, right? They come in with a bang, they work it hard, and then they're like, whoo, that was exhausting. And then they take the next 2 or 3 weeks off. Y'all, people do business with who they know, like, and trust. And trust comes into play when we talk about consistency. So when your friends or acquaintances are witnessing you like coming in hard and then it's crickets for a month, they notice that and they want to work with people who they trust. And when you are in and out like that constantly, it breaks trust with people. And so just remember that consistency is really, really important. It's how you show up, right? It's how you show up. And your business builders, they don't like it either. They don't like it when you are reaching out to them and you're like pounding them hard to reach a specific goal. And then all of a sudden you're gone again. That breaks trust as well. So consistent energy will always trump, going for it big time and then falling off because you're exhausted. Okay. Consistency with the amount of hours that you want to work. Decide that. If you can only work 5 hours a week, then be consistent working 5 hours a week. If you can work 10 to 15 or 20 hours a week, then do that. Okay. Just make a decision. Make a decision and be consistent with whatever it is. I also am going to encourage you to be consistent with your classes. So I recommend doing 6 to 8 classes a month. 4 to 6 classes for some of you guys who maybe can't work as many hours. Maybe you're working a full-time job, and so you might have to stick with that 4, but that's okay. That's okay. Just be consistent with that. It's so much easier when you run into other people and you say to them, hey, I've got a class on the 12th. Awesome. I can't be there on the 12th. Well, that's okay. I have another class on the 15th. Would that work better for you? You sound like a business person at that moment. Okay. So it's great to have your time planned out. And we're going to talk more about that in just a second. So y'all just be consistent with working your business. Okay. Number 2, I'm going to encourage you to not compare yourself to other people. Comparing yourself is the thief of joy. And I see it all the time. That is one thing that I've done very well is I've kind of put blinders on and I work my business and I don't think or worry about what everybody else is doing. And that has been a gift. That has been a gift. And I don't know that I realized it for a long time, but over time I have come to realize that was super smart. So look, stay in your lane. You are going to attract the people who are attracted to you. I see people who are like, I watch this leader and I want to be more like them, or this person enrolled at the same time I did, but look at all that they're doing. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? And then we start having self-doubt, and that really plays a key role into whether we are consistent, whether we're successful. You guys don't do it. You be you, right? Because you have specific people that are going to be attracted to you that those same people would never be attracted to the person you're comparing yourself to. And so just don't do it, okay? Comparison, not a smart thing. It steals your joy. Number 3, plan out your month. So how many classes do you want to do? Plan that out. Remember I talked about that I believe you should have at least 4, right? But if you're like really working this business consistently, then I would say somewhere between 6 to 8 classes a month, depending on how many hours. If you're one of those people that only has maybe 5 or 10 hours a week, then you're going to want to probably do a little bit closer to 4 or 5 classes a week, maybe even six a month. Sorry, not a week. You want other people to say, oh, I can do what she's doing, and I could even do it a little bit better. That's a good thing, you guys. And that comes into that whole comparison thing. I'm going to step back to that a second. People say to me, well, I don't know everything there is to know about essential oils. Well, you know what? That's okay. Because as long as you know where the resources are and how to find the answers, that's really all you need to know. I've had so many promising, beautiful people who have never started their business because they felt like they didn't know enough. And you guys, those people who sound like they have a doctorate in essential oils, they're not going to attract a lot of people to build the business because the people who are watching them are saying, oh, wow, I don't think I could ever do that. My people who watch me, they're like, yeah, I could totally do what she's doing. That's a compliment. That's what I strive for, you guys. I don't strive to be the all knowing guru because you don't have to be. You don't have to be. But I know my resources, I know where to find the answers. That's super important. So let's talk about planning out your month. So if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? And one of the biggest believers that I am in a home based business is that you have some type of business hours. And so even if it's 5 hours a week, plan out the 5 hours a week because as entrepreneurs, there is a definite tendency, and I speak from a vast amount of experience, to work 24/7, right? Because your office might be in your dining room, which is right next to your kitchen. And so it's super easy to be in your kitchen and jump right on over to the dining room and work again. However, I am a huge believer. Look, I have built this business. I'm sure there's some weeks I work 40 hours a week, but for the most part, I have built this entire business working 25 to 35 hours a week. And so if I can do it, anybody else can do it, but I'm very consistent in that, right? I'm super consistent in that, and that matters, obviously. So set some type of business hours. For me, I work Monday through Thursday very consistently, and then I work maybe half day on Friday if I need to catch up some stuff. Maybe I don't work at all on Friday, and I personally try not to work a whole lot on the weekend. Does that mean I never work on the weekend? No. But I try to set up my life like that so my family knows what to expect and I can do the things that I want to do. That's the part of being an entrepreneur, right? Maybe you're working a full-time job. So if that's the case and there's a night during the week that you need to make phone calls, if you tell your family, hey, I need 30 minutes tonight to make phone calls, then set a timer, make the phone calls, and then do the best you can to stop at 30 minutes. That way you build trust with your own family. If you tell your family, hey, I need to go make calls for 30 minutes and then boom, here you are an hour later, they're not going to be happy with you. So those are really my biggest tips, you guys. Those are my biggest tips. So bottom line, treat your business like a business. And here's the thing, life happens, right? Life happens. If you would not call your boss at a full-time job and say, hey, life just happened to me. I can't be there for the next 2 weeks, or I am like sidelined for the next 2 or 3 days. If you wouldn't or couldn't do that with a full-time job, then don't do it with your business. Don't do it with your business. Just because you have that flexibility doesn't mean you need to take it all the time. So, y'all, I hope this was super helpful in you deciding how to structure your business, how to work your business. These are some things that I have done over the years that have gotten me where I am today. So thanks everybody for watching. Bye, you guys.
Hi, everyone. My name is Geraldine, and I am a presidential diamond with doTERRA. And we're going to talk about today the one thing that I feel you can do or implement or ponder over and think about when it comes to creating success in your doTERRA business. And I also think this relates to creating success really in life in general. But since we're talking about your doTERRA business today, let's put the focus there. Okay. So when my lovely friend Jen asked me to record this for all of you, I thought, okay, picking one tip is challenging, but it's also kind of not challenging, because if we really zoom out and look at the bigger picture of what it is that you're doing within your network marketing business, I really look at it as a spiritual path. And it took me a long time to sort of come out of my shell and share my own truth and authenticity around that. But I really believe that this is a journey of not just personal growth, but spiritual growth. It's a journey of really accessing the deepest truth of who you are. And I want to start off by sharing that. So I really think, and I've been doing this network marketing thing for 8-9 years now, which is crazy. But I believe, especially now in the year 2020, okay, because I tend to adjust my tips and my teachings based on the times that we're in, So we're in the year 2020, and I believe the most controversial thing that you can do, and if you will just allow me to bring forth that sort of metaphysical, spiritual, esoteric side for a second, because that's me. I think the most controversial thing that you will ever do, but it will lead to your success, is to be yourself. Now stay with me for a minute, because you might be looking for some magical gem or some magical script. And I actually think that's the farthest thing, the absolute farthest thing from the truth around what it takes to truly create success here. Is some sort of a magical solution or strategy or script or some perfect formula for how to integrate or implement pipes, right, into your business. Pipes meaning things like the basic skills of a network marketing pro. So inviting, presenting the business, following up, sampling. You have to do those things, okay, but it needs to be in a way that feels so edgy and controversial because it's fully you. Let me give you a quick example story on this, and then I'm going to kind of dive into how you can integrate this into your business. So a friend of mine recently, she's a platinum leader on my front line in doTERRA. She recently went to Salt Lake City. I believe it was last year, maybe the start of 2020 actually. And she went to attend Elise Chedevy's training. So Elise Chedevy is, I believe she's the top leader in all of doTERRA in terms of rank. I think she's a triple diamond something. I don't know. I don't know. Forgive me. I don't know her rank. But she has created massive, beautiful success for herself. And so she was sharing her greatest tips and strategies. And my friend came home and she called me, okay? And again, she's platinum looking to go towards diamond. And she said, Geraldine, I don't think I'm gonna implement a single strategy Elise taught. And I said, okay, why? And she said, I was sitting there and she said, I was looking around at all of the hundreds of people around me and everybody had their notebook and pens out and they were so excited to hear what Elise had to say because she's super successful, right? In terms of her rank. And everything Elise said, people were just viciously scribbling down, every strategy, everything you could think of. And my friend, her name's Laura, was doing the same thing. She was writing everything down. But she said, as I sat with it, some of the strategies, she said, didn't feel right to her. And what actually happened for her was more of an awakening where she kind of paused. And this is what I mean by this business is really a spiritual path. She paused and she was able to zoom out and ask yourself some bigger questions and go, hold on a second. Why is Elise really so successful? Well, she is not afraid to listen to all of the ideas and strategies that flow through her, because we can take all the business trainings and learn all the basic skills of a network marketing professional, and that's really important. But what I ultimately believe is that there is this higher part of you that is delivering unique ways that you can implement those strategies within the authenticity of who you are. And so my friend Laura said, as she sat there, she goes, well, it's so obvious why Elise is a triple diamond or presidential whatever, because she just doesn't doubt herself, and all of these ideas and strategies that come through, she acts on them. And the ones that are successful for her, she then goes and shares with other people. And so some people may not agree with, all of Elise's strategies. They might find them controversial, or it might not feel like it's in alignment, is a fancy term we hear today in the online coaching space. It might not be in alignment for them, but Elise listens to what flows through her in terms of the unique ideas and strategies, and she executes because she trusts herself. So, I almost feel kind of weird, like I'm not giving you some, seemingly big sparkly tip here, but guys, it's really simple. So I want to give you one more example from my own life. You can get to know me a little bit as we wrap up here in the last minute or two, and then I'll kind of leave you with a tip for how you can integrate this, okay? So big picture, as you lead with the congruency of who you truly are at your core, which can be a lifelong journey for some people to really trust and find that, you, I believe, will find success here. So with Elise, we see that in a very sort of analytical, strategic way, where she gets all these strategies and all these ideas on how to integrate pipes or invite people or whatever it is, and she acts on that. For me, it's a little bit different based on who I am, based on my strengths. For me, I tend to lead with vision much more than I lead with the doTERRA oils or the product. The product is actually, well, let me just get into it. So because it's 2020, I feel so controversial, and really who I am in my doTERRA business right now, right? The world is a little bit divided. There are many different beliefs about coronavirus and what we should do or what we shouldn't be doing, or what we're doing with our kids, or how governments are acting, and all of these things. And so I have beliefs about that. I have beliefs about my doTERRA business and sort of the culture of our team. And I'm always thinking about the next 20 people I'm here to enroll. And I think about, how can I lead them with vision? Because I'm going to attract people similar to me, right? Not people just like me, but people similar on a similar path. So if I hide the true congruency of who I am, I'm not going to enroll those people. I'm not. If I'm just looking for some magic formula out here, it's not going to work. So I have a piece of paper here, and I'm going to share with you some of the things I believe about 2020, about doTERRA, about my vision for the world that I want to see over the next few years, and how that relates to the oils and why I sell them. And you may agree with what I'm about to say. You might think, oh, that's controversial. I don't resonate with that. And that's okay. But big picture is, if I hide this, I'm not going to find my people. I'm not going to enroll my people. So I want to share this with you as an example. Okay. So let's get into it. So I believe you can nurture your family and your wealth portfolio as a woman, specifically, because I'm a woman. So that's who I tend to speak to. I really believe that. And if I'm presenting the business opportunity, I will talk about that, even though that's maybe a controversial kind of thought. Some people think, no, you can only do a good job being a stay-at-home mama, and you don't have time for the two. You don't have time, you'll burn out, blah, 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 blah. But anybody who knows me, or if you follow me, knows that I have figured out a way to unwind from very old school patriarchal teachings around women earning well and also nurturing the family. And I have figured out ways to do it that work really well for us. And there's no burnout, and there's no chaos, and there's no crazy. So I believe you can do that. Here's another sort of belief statement that shares with the world or my prospective customers or future builders. It shares and really models for them the vision that I see, okay? I believe it's an act of nurturance for women to build wealth, because that's how we protect ourselves, our future, our children, and the earth. And I really believe that. That might piss a few people off. And maybe not. It's a pretty, I don't know. These next ones might stir something up. Let me keep going. I believe in a world where women, also men, parents, but I'm specifically speaking to my fellow mamas. I believe in a world where women feel safe to rebel against institutionalized dogma, the institutionalized dogma of schools, healthcare, parenting, and instead they feel safe to raise their kids or the babies coming through in the sunshine with real food, a real connection to both the soil and one another. This whole thing that's happening right now where we're losing connection with everybody, it freaks me out. I think parts of the world are in a little bit of a reactionary response with that. I get that there's a virus. I'm not going to get into that, but that's really what I believe. And so when I talk about the oils and I talk about the business opportunity, I kind of pull in this grander vision that I have for women being a little bit rebellious in how they choose to do this, with healthcare choices, with raising their kids outside in the dirt, right? Deep connections to the earth, to the laws of nature, to the soil, which obviously ties into the plants that we're using with doTERRA products to support our bodies. Let me just share one or two more of my own beliefs. I believe in reducing the stress levels, the crazy pace of life for children, the neurological damage that we're seeing. Some of it I get is outside of our control, but some of it I believe we need to take our power back, right? For our kids. So I believe in reducing that so that children of the future, we can turn off their brains from fight or flight. And instead, these kids can be given the space to rethink everything. Because I think that there are a lot of systems that are broken in the world, and it's all coming to light. So I think that our kids will be the ones to rethink everything. I really do. But we have to hold them in a container to do that. And we can't brainwash them with our fear and our paranoia and our overuse of pharmaceuticals. This is where the oils comes in, and our crazy lifestyles where we're running around, burning ourselves out burning ourselves out, to keep up with the pace that society has said is normal. So you can see some of the things I'm sharing here are potentially controversial, right? And maybe not, but if I hold this back, I have taught classes, guys, where I share something like this. I'll share, like, here's why I do doTERRA, because I believe this, or I have a vision to support people with this type of lifestyle or this way of being. And I'll see people nodding their heads, and then I'll see 2 or 3 people in the corner like, and I'm sitting there going, okay, that's controversial to them, or that's outside of the norm for them. But I am not going to hold back the integrity of what I believe and what I talk about when the cameras are off and the classes are not happening and I'm sitting around the dinner table with my closest friends and my husband. I'm not going to shut that off because I'm afraid of what, somebody else thinks. And so this is how I have built my business to where it is today, is by not masking myself, putting tape over my mouth. I truly show up in the authenticity of who I am and who I'm stepping into. And I don't hold that back. I was saying the other day, actually, on my Instagram feed, that I feel like the next wave of leaders in doTERRA, this is what's going to happen, is the people with true integrity, the people who really have deep core beliefs and truths and words and thoughts and ideas that the world needs, people who truly do the work to connect inwards. It's their time to come forth and share and rise and be more visible, especially since we have to share a little bit more online these days, if getting in person is challenging. And the test for these people is going to be to not try to perfect things, to not think they need another book or podcast or training or video or yoga teacher training or whatever the thing is. The true test is going to be how much are you going to trust what needs to come out of your mouth? Even though for 1 out of every 100 people you share with, it might be controversial. Because it is controversial to show up and share the depths of who you are, right? So anyways, I'm gonna put my paper down. And what do I want to leave you with? I just want to leave you with one quick exercise that you can do to help you get clear on who you are leading into the next half of 2020 and really the next few years, okay? So all you're going to do is you're going to grab pen and paper, and you're going to think about you're going to write out the next 20 people that you're here to enroll in dōTERRA, okay? And you're going to journal on 2 things. And the first thing is, who are these people? Is it men? Is it women? Is it families? Is it, men or women of a certain race? Inclusivity is really, I think, important and a growing desire for a lot of people to look at, am I truly being inclusive in my work? Right? I'm talking about conversations around anti-racism work and looking at, are we truly being inclusive to who we give access to? This is something who we give, access to in terms of the oils. And so your intention around this will help spiral all sorts of new ideas and things like that. We've been working on this within my own dōTERRA team, and we've been enrolling people in like Egypt and people and families that are very different to us and people that we haven't enrolled before. And I'm just feeling really excited and expansive around that. But we've been doing this exercise to write out, who are we enrolling? Who are we enrolling? So they're your next 20 people. Who are they? Second question, or second journal prompt, is what do you want these people to know? So you're going to say, I want these people to know what? And then you're going to write out 3 or 4 points. So you have these people in front of you. What do you want them to know? I want you to know that essential oils can provide you with da-da-da-da-da. I want you to know that you can, I'm trying to think of examples from my team. I've heard women say, you can take back control, or you can homeschool your kids right now, and you can use plants to do this. Like me, you can nurture your family and your wealth portfolio. You can. The world's going to say you can't, but you can do that. Okay, so you're going to write out 3 to 4 things that you want these people to know, and you are not holding back. It may sound controversial. It may feel weird. You're going to get it all out. It may come to you tomorrow in the shower. It might not come out right away, but if you stay present with yourself, with your body over the next few days, these things are going to come through you. Okay? And then you're going to lead with them in some way moving forward. It might come through you at a class. It might come through you in a blog post about oils. You might, instead of just talking about the same old water and white vinegar cleaners with oils, that's okay. But can you bring more depth? Because the people who bring more depth and who show up in the authenticity of who they are the people who are going to create momentum and success moving forward, and fulfillment, because that's the number one thing. Who cares about success without fulfillment? Nobody. So, the fulfillment comes from really the beauty and truth of who you are and unleashing that. So that's your exercise. Number 1, who are you enrolling? How old are they? What do they look like? What's their gender? How do they identify? What racial background do they come from? Who are you enrolling? Number 2, what do you want them to know? What do you want them to know? What are they? They are waiting for someone to lead them with a belief, a thought, someone who's a culture changer, someone who is ready to create a different world, a different type of healthcare, a different type of vision for families, for school, for what? It's 2020, people. We're going big, okay? So what do you want them to know? And then you want to integrate that into your work, into your classes, into your pipes, into the thread of who you are and what you do. Okay? So it's really an exercise in what you stand for and bringing that forth. Remember, the most controversial thing you will ever do is be yourself, but it's the most empowering and fulfilling thing you will ever do. So get after it, my friends, and happy anniversary to the Dough Planner. Have a wonderful day. I hope this has been helpful. Okay, bye guys.
I am so excited to be able to share with you my 3 top tips on growing your doTERRA business. My name is Holly Lowe, and I am a Presidential Diamond and Canadian founder with doTERRA. And I am hanging out at the cottage because that is what we get to do, right? When we have put in a lot of work and we have some time freedom and family freedom. So bear with me if you get some cottagey noises going on. All right, so my top 3 tips, let's go through them. My first one is to never stop being a sharer. Now that sounds really common sense, I'm sure, but it's not. Once you get up into your business and you start growing and you start to lead, as you will at some point, it can become more of a process of distraction, really, in all the other things that we are attracted to doing. So it comes into a time management and, a bit of a discipline thing as well. And depending on your personality and your strengths and all those great things will determine somewhat how much you continue in the sharing duties of this job and how much of it you lean into the leadership side of things. And then on top of that, the extra distractions that come along as you grow and you become successful. Now, I'm not going to get into all what those distractions can be, but things as simple as finding faster ways to do something, finding faster ways to be on social media, to finding ways to grow to 20 million people following you on social media, ways to sign up 100 doctors, whatever that might be. None of those are wrong and none of those are bad things, but they can become time suckers and they can become focus wasters, really. So as you're moving forward in your business, it's really important that you never lose sight of that original sharing process. Think every day what it was when you started that got you started doing this. Now, I'm not talking about your why. I'm sure somebody will discuss the importance of your why because that is so important. I'm talking about the passion of sharing with someone, even one person, every single day. And it becoming a very natural part of who you are and just what you do, to the point that it's the same as breathing. Now, after 6 years of doing this, we share this naturally everywhere we go with just a passion for other people's health. And that's really what it comes down to, right? This is why we're in this business. This is the importance of it. So never lose your passion and your persistence and consistency in showing up as a sharer. If you need a little reminder, right, go back and step into that role. Go back and step into what would I tell a sharer on my team to have fun with it, to intentionally help people, to always be prepared to share. All of those little things that you might educate your sharers or your valuable customers on should be the same process for us no matter what level we get to. It doesn't matter what other pursuits we pull into our business. Sharing is the heart and soul of your success. It will never change. That will never be another rule that will replace sharing. It is what we do to grow our business. And I still do it. You have to keep growing that way. All right, number 2. The next important thing is to love your customers. Again, seems like a no-brainer, but we can get really caught up in leading. We can get really caught up in the business of this business. So please, every single month, do something for your LRP customers, your personally enrolled customers, maybe your brand new enrollments, something special from you that's personal that you can show them you value their business. One of the greatest things I learn from is other companies that are out there. So if I order something from a company online, this just happened recently. I ordered a piece of clothing, and the color I ordered it in, these are, made locally, they're beautiful, type artisan type things. And the color fabric that I had selected wasn't available right away. They had to find a new supplier. So I immediately got an email telling me this, apologizing and saying, here's what we're gonna do. We are going to send you a few swatches to look at. You tell me if there's something that works with what we've got, or here's the expected date we can give you your order. I chose a different color. They said, great. I had lots of communication from them. I even had a phone call from them after my order shipped. That's above and beyond in my books. And then when I got my order, it had a handwritten letter from the owners. It's a small company, I get it, but personal touch, right? It was actually written by them, and a typed letter as well. But with the typed letter, I got a $50 gift card for my next purchase, apologizing for having to pick a different color. What on earth? You better believe I'm gonna shop with them again, right? That little inconvenience was outweighed by their customer care. Now listen, we ourselves personally can get bogged down by the little inconveniences that frustrate some of us. Not everybody really even pays attention to some of them. I don't, to be honest. A lot of the things I hear from other leaders or that customers say to me about this product's been out of stock for a while or this or that, most of the time I'm going, oh, okay, well, it's no big deal. I'm sure it'll be back. And here's something that is exactly the same type of use, another product we have that will do the same thing for the time being. When you respond in that way and you take care of your customers, or you give them a little heads up, you take care of them with respect and with a positive attitude, which we don't always find easily, right? They will respond as well in the positive way, okay? So love on your customers and keep your attitude in check over those little frustrations and treat your customers like gold. All right, last but not least is grow globally. Now, I've heard lots of people ask me this. I've got this question often. How did you get, business in England? How do you have business in Europe? How do you have business in France? I asked. I simply searched it out. I found groups that I could connect with on Facebook that were in those countries. I found expat organizations. I did the legwork in connecting with those countries where I had a passion to work. Now, you don't just randomly go out and find people in another country and go, hey, I want to work with you. Maybe you do, but that's not how I did it. I had a passion for working in England, and I had a friend there who was interested in the oils. It clicked, so it did work. But since then, I have learned how to intentionally find areas that I feel passionate and I have the skill set to do. So it's not a language I don't know. It's not an area I couldn't go to, right? It's not a global access maybe. So I chose specifically to work in areas, it's not easy, but it's very, it's highly enlightening, and it's a lot of fun to be challenged in this way as you grow your business, to find other areas that you can support. And you have to be prepared when you grow globally to put the legwork in and maybe the travel to support them. Please show up for those people. When you are growing globally, you have to show up. It can't all be done online. There has to be Zooms, there has to be phone calls. It can't just be learning groups and educational videos. Take the time to connect personally with these people. But get out of your comfort zone. Grow beyond your initial borders. Grow beyond your immediate location. And don't be afraid to ask people, who do you know in BC? Who do you know in Nova Scotia? Who do you know in the United States? Who do you know in Texas? Who do you know in England? We all have people who know people. So be open to asking for referrals and then take care of them. Really, at the end of the day, no matter what tips you get or how many courses you take or how many trainings you attend, it will always come down to your commitment, consistency, and capabilities. So as long as you are showing up, growing up, and upgrading, right? And doing that on a regular daily basis, you will succeed. There's no question about it. I know you can do it.
Hello, I'm Kimberly Malusis, Presidential Diamond Leader and Canadian founder with dōTERRA. And I'm here to share with you my best kept secret for building a successful dōTERRA business. Now, there's a number of things that I could have shared with you today, but I wanted to share with you, as I considered everything, the one thing that stood out to me the most. But the best kept secret is actually the ability to win the mind game. What do I mean by that? Well, over the years, I have seen leaders being taken out because of what they've chosen to believe. The actions between this finger and this finger are going to determine whether you are going to succeed in this business, are going to determine whether you are able to overcome. I had a leader in France who hit the rank of premier, and then who gave me a list of about 10 or 20 reasons why doTERRA would never be a success in France. She explained, for one valid reason after another, that doTERRA would never be successful, and she didn't want to continue to build a doTERRA business. Funny thing is, 2 years later, we have a doTERRA diamond in France. So what it was that prevented her became somebody else's, I'm going to help people to understand why doTERRA has such incredible value for France. And they use that to succeed. I've seen people who at the beginning of my business were absolutely convinced that nobody would want to pay the kind of exchange rate that Canadians had to pay for the products of doTERRA, which were at that time only available with US funds. Our exchange rate was ridiculous. Sometimes, having to pay 50% more, it seemed, for some products. And so people were saying it will never work. No one will ever pay those prices. And so those people quit. Well, at the same time, that was the time of the biggest growth in Canada ever. So what people choose to believe can either propel them forward or take them out. The exact same circumstances in the hands of two people with two different mindsets will produce very different results. What's going to take you out? Is it going to be your belief that people won't want to be involved in MLMs, that the market is saturated, or are you going to choose to believe something else? The biggest battle, though, is not necessarily even believing in the things that are happening around you, because I have a feeling that a lot of those things are just excuses for the ultimate belief battle, which is the belief about yourself, the belief about who you are, the belief about what you're capable of, about what you can and cannot do. Every morning that you get up, you have an incredible choice to make. You have a choice about who you're going to give your agreement to. See, from a Christian perspective, it says that the heavens, even the highest heavens, belong to God, but the earth He has given to man. And that the only power on earth is human power. And to the extent that anything else wants to do anything on this earth, whether it be an angel wanting to function in our lives, or whether it be a not so good angel, otherwise known as demonic presence, wanting to function in our lives, they can't function in our lives without our agreement. So every morning, heaven and hell wait for your agreement. Every morning, you can choose to believe the truth about who God says you are, about what God says you can do, about what you're able to create according to the heavens perspective, or you can believe the lies. The lies that your past somehow determines your future. The lies that there's something wrong with you. The lies that other people have something that you don't have. The lies that you really couldn't be successful in this business. What are you going to choose to believe? What is your agreement going to be with? Who is your agreement going to be with? I'm always marveling at my son, who sits in front of a pile of Lego, a massive pile of Lego. No instructions in his mind, but his hands just start going to work. And within 40 minutes, an hour, maybe an hour and a half, he will come to me and he'll say, look what I made. And then he'll show me how you can poke this little area. And as I poke that area, out will pop a key. I take that key and I put it in another spot, out will pop a drawer. As that drawer comes out, I recognize that there's a secret passageway at the back. which will lead to something else popping out, and then there's a hidden jewel. Now, it's incredible that he created that, but I ask myself, when did that creation finish? It finished before he even sat down before the Lego pile. You see, he had that creation, this image of this box, this magic Lego box. He had it all planned out in his mind before he sat down in front of this pile of Lego. Every day, our day is like that. We sit down, so to speak, in front of a pile of Lego called minutes. We begin our day with this pile of minutes, and we choose ahead of time what we are going to create with those minutes. What we're going to create with those minutes is going to have to do with what we're choosing to believe about ourselves, about other people, about our ability to succeed, about God. All of these things affect what our creation for that day is going to look like. If you start your day with a belief that when you pick up the phone to call people, they're going to think you're bugging them. They're going to be so irritated that you're following up on that sample you gave them. That's going to produce a certain type of creation for your day. But if you sit down and you pick up that phone and you know that people are going to just feel the love and the service that you have for them, and to the extent that they don't, that's not your issue. If you know that when you present somebody kits to purchase with dōTERRA, that you're doing this because you really believe that they need this in their home in order to be empowered, in order to have on hand what they need when they need it, then you're probably going to find that people are very, very open to buying. But if you feel like you're stealing money from people just by asking them to make a purchase, that's going to affect your results. What you're going to create with your day is going to be determined by what you've decided before the day even begins. So think about it. As you wake up, make decrees, make declarations about who you are and about who the people that you're interacting are and about who God is. As you start to make those agreements, you're going to find that your day shifts. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can overcome every challenge that comes at me. When I sit before somebody, they're going to see love in my eyes. They're going to know that I want to serve them for their own benefit. I can be successful. I can handle money wisely. I am a good leader. People want to be partnered with me because I have a lot to offer. I know how to put proper boundaries in place so that my leaders grow in the best way for them, that I don't overcompensate for their weaknesses, but I allow them to go through the same struggles I had to go through. See, each of these beliefs will create something, and you want to create something. You want to create something beautiful. I want you to also remember that what happens during your day does not change truth. What happens during your day are facts, but facts and truth are not the same thing. If you have something that happens in a day that's wonderful, somebody enrolled, somebody decided that they wanted to host a workshop, somebody decided that they wanted to build, it's very likely that you'll be tempted to feel like you're winning at dōTERRA. It's a good dōTERRA day. You're going to be successful. But if a day comes and nobody enrolls in a workshop, nobody wants to host, and that person who said that they wanted to build suddenly calls you up and said that they changed their mind and they really don't want to be connected to an MLM. On that day, are you successful? Will you be able to build a dōTERRA business? Why does what happens change truth? It doesn't. What happens is a fact that we analyze. So if nobody enrolled, we go back to figure out what can we do better next time. How can we make it so that people see the value in kits? Nobody wanted to host a workshop. Maybe I didn't explain that they don't have to create an entire buffet for their guests, but it's a really simple process of getting a few friends together in a room with water. That person didn't want to build because of MLM. Did I take the time to walk through their questions about direct sales, or did I shy away from it because I was afraid of them? Either way, whatever the answer is, there's no shame. It's only a learning process. The facts of your day don't determine the truth of your future. The truth of your future is determined by what you know to be true about you, about God, and about what He's called you to do. End of story. The facts are just there to be analyzed. Use this opportunity of your business and the obstacles that will come at you as an opportunity to grow your mind, as an opportunity to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is an incredible growth opportunity. I don't think I've ever grown more than during my doTERRA lifetime. But it isn't a foregone conclusion that you will grow and be successful with your doTERRA business. It will require you to be very careful about the agreements that you choose to make and what you choose to believe. So win the mind game, and you've got this.